Okay, guys, I think we're live on the wrong channel, so I'll try this again. Okay, great. Hello, how are you? Okay, excellent. Okay, I'm so sorry, guys. I was logged into my personal YouTube channel, and so I was wondering why no one was showing up. But I am on the right channel now. So we'll give a few minutes for, hey, Andrea. We'll give a few minutes for everyone to get in, and then we will pray and get started. Hi, Amber. You what? Oh. Hi, Michelle Ann. Okay, guys, so remember we're voting to see if we like the YouTube Live better or Periscope better. So far, I logged into the wrong account today, so that's not good, but I'm good now. All right, so we'll wait just a few minutes to give, I'm guessing people were here at noon, but I wasn't here because I was on the wrong page. So we'll give a few minutes to give everyone a chance to come back. I can't do hearts. Oh yeah, they don't have hearts. Do they have something else? I don't know. I like the hearts. It's just so easy to tap, and I know. Okay, so that's a strike against YouTube. No hearts. So we'll have to. So somebody take notes of what we don't like. Now I do like. Can you guys see? So you guys can see each other's chat. I do like the fact that the chat stays. And then you can go back and read what others have said. So that is a plus for the YouTube Live. But it does need some kind of stars or hearts or emojis or, I don't know, something to make it kind of interactive. All right. And I can see that people are in, but I don't know. Oh, she did her own heart. I like that, Candace. We'll do our own hearts. Okay. So I can see that the people are on, but I don't know if I can see who's on unless they chat. I don't know. I'll have to figure that out. All right. So anyway, you guys be thinking about it, and we will we'll meet on here today. We'll meet on here next week, and then we will take a final vote. So far, about 35 people have voted. I would like for it to be at least 50. The vote's really close. It's like 48%. Hi, Allison. It's like 48% Periscope, 52%. No, it's 52% YouTube, 48%, what is it? It's 48% YouTube, 52% Periscope. Where do we vote? So, Candace, are you in the email group? I sent a poll out to the email group. And so you click on the link and it'll take you to a poll, and you can vote for Periscope or for YouTube. And like I said, about 35 people have voted. And so some people didn't want to vote until we, okay, let me write you down. And I will add you to the the YouTube group. Hold on, I'll put that on my to-do list for today. Add Candice, CandiceLeanos at Gmail. 210 principles. And what I will do is I will, Periscope freezes too much. Periscope does freeze a lot. So that is a good, that's a good observation. I do not like that about Periscope. And as a presenter, I don't really know when it's freezing. And I just see people coming in and going out and coming in and going out. And so I'm assuming there's some technical issue. But I don't know, that one right there might be enough to make a switch. But I'm going to write that down as a note, because it does have that problem of Periscope freezes. Yeah, it does freeze. It seems to have quite a bit of technical difficulties, which I don't know if YouTube has that. So, all right, well, let's pray, and we will get started. Lord, we thank you so much for the opportunity to meet yet again. We thank you for social media and the different platforms that are available for us to meet so easily and to ask questions and to commune together. We ask that you would be with our hearts and minds as we try to decide which platform is best for our communication. And we just ask that you would be with our class, that it would be a blessing to us all, and that each of us would be a part of the one family, well ordered and well disciplined, that is worth more than all the sermons that can be preached. This is our prayer in Jesus' name. Amen. All right, guys. So like I said, today we are testing out the YouTube Live platform. And I want you guys just to kind of be thinking critically. We did have the great comment. I just realized I can turn on notifications with YouTube. Yes, you can turn on notifications, and you will get an email, and you will get, hi Larry, you will get an email, and you will get a notification on your phone that tells you that the person is live. And so it will tell you that a video has been uploaded. So if I record a video, which I probably won't because we're doing them live, but if I were to record a video, or if someone was to record a video and put it up on the channel, it would let you know that a new video had been posted. And it will also alert you if I go live, which I probably will only be going live on the times that we've scheduled, you know, unless for some reason it moves me. I moved to go live. What, I don't know. So that is a good thing, that you can kind of like the Periscope notifications that come up on your phone. But when my daughter was taking Calculus 2, I would get a notification on my phone because I had subscribed to her professor's YouTube channel, and it would show me when she went live, which I didn't really watch the classes live because she went kind of fast. And so if I'm trying to take notes, you know, I need to pause and go back and kind of work out the problem. And so I normally went back and watched them. But, you know, the ultimate reason that I wanted to initially switch to YouTube Live is because we do have people that have issues with Periscope, and I was going to upload the videos to YouTube. So I was recording them on Periscope and then uploading them to YouTube. But if I had a technical issue, then, you know, now I wasn't able to get the video up. Whereas if I record it on YouTube, then I don't have to do anything else. It's just automatically on the YouTube channel. And so those who aren't able to watch it live are able to go back and watch it. Now, I did get this question, and I don't know if any of you guys don't have a YouTube account, but if someone can tell me if you can access these videos. Hi Maggie, good to see you. If someone can tell me if you can access these videos live without a YouTube account, I think you can, because I think you can just come to the channel. Hola, ¿cómo está? I think you can just come to the channel and see that it's live. Yes, you can. Okay, great. But I have a YouTube account, so I don't know the answer to that question. So somebody was like, do I have to sign up for YouTube? I have no idea, because I have a YouTube, so I don't know. I would think that you wouldn't have to, but you know, I really don't know but I know you don't have to have a Periscope in order to watch the Periscope videos. Like, someone can just send you the link and you can just click on the link and watch the video. But I wasn't sure about that for YouTube, but I told her just to try it, you know, and see if it works. So, all right, guys. So today we are discussing our upcoming class and taking any questions that you might have specifically regarding the class. But if you have other questions, then, you know, that's fine as well. I do have to leave today at 1, and so we have about 45 minutes to discuss. You have to have a YouTube channel account in order to chat. Okay, that makes sense. So you could watch, but you wouldn't be able to chat. Okay, let me write that down. Need account to chat. Okay, perfect. All right. So guys, if YouTube had the hearts, I think my vote would be YouTube, because I do like the little hearts on the screen. It's so pretty and cute. Hello, hello. How are you? Welcome. Okay, so our class begins on January 1st. Our first live meeting will be on January the 5th, that Friday at noon. And we will meet every Friday for this class, as opposed to twice a month for our last class. And the reason for that is, one, our last class was so like rushed. I don't know, especially for lesson 1. Lesson 1 was like, you know, it was a lot. And so I really want us to slow down and take our time and take it all in and just, you know, get more of an understanding, have more time to discuss each part, right? So the less you have gone over, then the more you can actually discuss it. And so we will meet every Friday. The way I'm working on the calendar so far, we will have lessons for Sunday through Thursday. Friday will kind of be a review day. You can take time, you can write down any questions you might have, any points you might want to discuss. And then Sabbath will be a rest day if you want to read. I think it's totally appropriate to read the material on the Sabbath, because it is from the Bible and the Thoughts from the Mount of Blessing. So it's not like we're reading anything that's not spiritual and character building. So I don't stay away from assignments on the Sabbath because I feel like there's something wrong with it. But, you know, I want you to have time to go back and read, to catch up on any reading that you might not have done, to get ahead in any reading. Maybe a day during the week is a busy day for you, and you could use a Sabbath afternoon to read. So, you know, you fit that in your schedule as you see fit. So, are there any questions about the class? And then once we finish the class, just like we have done this year, we will have the last few months. We probably won't have as many months this time because we're going to go slower. So last time I think we finished like in July. This time we probably won't finish until about September, maybe even October. I don't know. It depends on how fast we go. But we will have at least a couple of months to do what I consider practicum, where you are now putting into place the things that you have learned. And obviously, hopefully you'll be doing that as we go. You know, you learn something new and then you implement it. But this will be the time where you can just kind of take in what you've learned, and then, okay, so we're supposed to be this family, well disciplined, well ordered, but you know, like, what does that mean? Like, it sounds good, but how do we actually accomplish that? What does that look like? And so for those who, is there a syllabus with your reading schedule? So there is a syllabus that I'm working on. If you would like, you can go to the Google Drive and look at the one from this year, from the last class. The one for the next class will be different because we won't be covering as much material, but it will give you an idea of what we did. How does one teach the family lessons every day? And what happens if you skip some day? Okay, so are you talking about the family Bible lessons for worship? Is that what you're asking about? Yes. Okay, so what we do is we do one lesson a week. So if we don't get to every lesson, then we move on to the next week's lesson. So say, for example, we do try to do them every day, but you know, let's say we don't, for whatever reason, somebody's sick, or if we're traveling, I usually just do it in the car because I have them on my iPad. But let's say for whatever reason, we don't get to a lesson. So today's Friday, today would be day 6. So what you could do is tomorrow, when it's just review, you could read day 6 that you missed, or you could do kind of like a summary of what the lesson is about. So I would just kind of read over it to see if there are any pertinent items that you feel like you may have missed, and kind of throw that in to the next day's lesson. Or sometimes what we might do is, if we miss the morning, then do it for evening worship, or do it sometime in the afternoon as a part of school. Just kind of work it somewhere into the part of the day. But if you can't get it in at all, then you just go to the next day's lesson, or just, so maybe you wouldn't get through all the lessons in that week. So let's say you're supposed to start on Sunday, because Sunday's day 1. So let's say you don't have worship on Sunday. Then on Monday, I would start on day 1, because we're going to present the lesson. We're going to present the memory verse. We're going to present the character quality. And then now on Tuesday, we're on day 2 instead of day 3. So, and then when you get to the end, you just might not do the last lesson, or you kind of combine 2 lessons into one. So instead of just reading the lesson, you're just giving a summary of the lesson. So if that makes sense. Let me know if that answers your question. But is that the same for smaller children? If this is their curriculum, their activities that go with it? Right. So I would say it would still be the same, because the activities are really just extra. Their activities are not required. So you don't have to do all of the activities. And so if you skip an activity, let's say that you had 5 activities planned for the week. Okay, so now you're going to do 4. And you can pick the one that you want to skip. You know, so, and also maybe you make up a school day on Sunday. If you really feel like you want to cover that information, then you could cover it at a later time. Because the whole point is you just want to go over the information, but you don't have to do it in a school setting per se, you know, where you're sitting at the table, you got the books open, we're in class. You know, you could do it while you could be discussing it while you're doing your chores. You could be discussing it in the car, on the way to church, on the way to Walmart. You could do it at another time, as long as the information is covered and the lessons are learned. So that's my suggestion on that. And if you find that you're missing them regularly, then you may want to present it in a different way. And so you would read the entire lesson. So kind of like Sabbath school, like the children's Sabbath school at church. So you present the entire lesson, and then you have the daily lesson throughout the week, right? But you're not reading the daily lessons in the class. So you could just present the lesson in its fullness and glean from the different days. Does that make sense what I'm saying? I don't know if I'm getting that across very well. So like this week, we're in quarter 4, and our lesson is about David, right? So the first, 4 days were actually about Saul, even though the lesson said it was about David. Like the first Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, I don't think we started talking about David until Wednesday or Thursday. Maybe yesterday is when we started talking about David. So anyway, the point is, everything that we talked about Saul, we really could have covered that in one lesson. Saul was the king and he wasn't obedient. I mean, it is the lesson in a nutshell. And he did not do what God told him to do. And so in 15 minutes, I could tell the story of Saul's disobedience to God. Now, granted, it was 3 days worth of stories, but you could sum that up in 5, 10, 15 minutes. And then I would sum up the nature lesson, right? So the 3 days were about moths. We learned about their protection and how they camouflage, and how the ones that have all this color are bitter. And so very nice lessons, but you could sum it up in a few minutes, and you just wouldn't go into detail. So you can consider that. All right, excellent question. Any other questions about the class or about the program, how to implement the program, how to implement the principles of the class? We do have quite a few new people who have joined the class, so that's very exciting. Got a lot of calls this week of people who are very encouraged in learning a lot of new things, so that's always exciting. So anyone else? So you can be reading Thoughts from the Mount of Blessing. Can you discuss some ways you taught math in homeschool? Actually, I have been getting this question a lot. I probably need to do a blog post on this. Let me write that down. Post on math in homeschool. Okay, so when we first started out with math, when my children were younger, you're welcome, we did just simple counting. We would count beans. I would get a bag of red beans, black beans, and we would count the beans, and we would put them into groups. Okay, so we're learning how to add, and so we want to know combinations that equal 10, right? So we count out 10 beans, and then we put them in half. So 5 goes into this pile, 5 goes into this pile. 5 plus 5 is 10. And then we put 2 in this pile. Well, if we have 2 in this pile, how many do we have in this pile? Okay, the child may know, they may not. So we're going to count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We have 8 in this pile. 2 plus 8 equals 10. So we're learning the facts, and then we're seeing visually that there's 2 over here. Then that means there has to be 8 over here. And so we would fold laundry, and we would count pairs of socks. And so there's 5 pairs of socks. So how many socks are there all together? 10, because 5 times 2 is 10. So now we're learning multiplication. Now they don't know we're learning multiplication, but there's, we roll the socks up in a ball. There's 5 balls, but there's really 10 socks in here. So now they're seeing the socks. They are understanding it visually. We also did math in the kitchen. So we cooked recipes, and we this actually was born out of my lack of organization. And so my little measuring cups were not together. And so like I couldn't find them. And so all I would have was like the half cup or the third cup. And then I would need a cup. And so I would say, so how many of these do we need to make a cup? Which is great learning, by the way. And so from that, we would fill up the half cup with water. And then how many times do I fill this up to fill up the cup? So we fill up the 1/4. How many times do I have to fill up the 1/4 to fill up the cup? So now I see that 4/4 is equal to 1 whole, right? So we're teaching fractions by baking, or not even baking, but just literally at the sink. I would fill up the sink with water, and then we would use that water. And then, how many teaspoons are in a tablespoon? So just learning measurements through cooking. Another good way to teach fractions and math concepts is through money. You would be surprised. Like, I have 5th graders that I asked them how many quarters are in a dollar. And they just look at me and like they don't know. And so the fact that we are becoming a paperless society is hurting the children. And so take your children to the grocery store and pay in cash, and let them see the dollars. Let them see the change being given back. Let them estimate how much money they're going to get back. Make sure that they know that there are 10 dimes in a dollar, 4 quarters, 20 nickels. And then go from 20 nickels to 1 nickel is 1/20th of a dollar, right? So that's fractions, okay? And so you can easily put that into multiplication, addition, subtraction for money. You can do the same thing with time. So time is broken up into minutes, hours. So now we're learning base 6 and 60. So 15 minutes is a quarter of an hour, 1/4. Is there anything with this program that I can start now with my 1.5-year-old? Probably not directly. So honestly, with the 1.5-year-old, I would count beans, and I would work in the kitchen, and I would let them assist and let them in hands on. So you're making a recipe, and it calls for 1 cup of flour. Family worship and daily participation. Have them get the cup. Do they know where the measuring cups are kept? A 1.5-year-old can know that. Can you go and get mommy the measuring cups, please? And now they know measuring cup, and now they know what the measuring cups do. Now they know what it means to measure. And so you're going to say, mommy needs 1 cup of flour. And then they're going to look at you, and then you're going to show them what that means. And then, next time you're going to say, mommy needs 2 cups of flour. Okay, and so now they're going to count 1, 2. And so this is how I would teach math with my 1.5-year-old. And then before you know it, by the time they're 5, they'll be able to take all the stuff on the recipe, and you will say, mommy needs 2 teaspoons of salt. They're going to know where the salt is. They're going to know what a teaspoon is. They're going to know of the little rings, which one is the teaspoon. And they're going to know how to take 2 teaspoons and put it in the bowl. And so that's how you teach math. And so now by the time they get to a worksheet, makes so much sense. My 12-year-old could not grasp a math concept. Yeah. So, put the book down. Put the book down and go to real life. Not only with math, but with the Sunlight program. So not all children can grasp So math, a lot of times what we're trying to do is teach these abstract concepts. So here's what you have to remember. And this is where us moms, dads who have gone through regular school, whether it be public or private, Adventist or not, because the Adventist schools are pretty much modeled behind the public schools, except they teach Bible. We worked on worksheets with the little nickel on the page because it's not feasible to have nickels for 30 children, right? So the worksheets are a substitute for real life. So I'm not saying don't use worksheets, but don't use worksheets when you can use real life. Like, don't give the child a worksheet with dimes on it. Pull out some real dimes and give them to the child. Like, go to the bank and get a roll of quarters and get a roll of nickels and get a roll of dimes and get a roll of pennies and have math class with real money and set up a store and sell stuff and put some stuff on the table and put some prices on it and go to the real store. You grocery shop every week. Take the child with you, okay? And help your child to get an understanding of real life. How much do apples cost? 99 cents a pound? $5.99 a pound? Like, which one of those numbers makes sense? When I lived in the Atlanta area, I had a girlfriend there. Like, she didn't know how much produce cost. This girl is a doctor. She has a medical degree. And she didn't know how much apples. Like, do you go to the grocery store? Like, what are you doing? Like, she's just totally not aware. Okay. And I said that to say that our children are just not aware how much this gas costs. How much this, okay, so you need to go out of town. How much is it going to cost you to get there? Have these conversations with your children if you have a 12-year-old, your 12-year-old should know how much gas costs. Your 12-year-old should know how much apples cost. They should know how much grapes cost. They should know how much bananas cost. They should know how much a box of pasta costs. They should know these things because they eat it. They can understand it. And so when things are on sale, perfect way to teach percentage. Okay, the shirt is 20% off. Okay, well, how much is it? I tutor at the school here. And we were going over percentages, and the kids just did not have a clue. And they were looking at me like, Miss Pugh. I'm like, okay, so you going to Walmart, you've been eyeing this shirt. And today is 20% off. The shirt is $20. How much is it going to be? $4? No, ma'am. No, ma'am. No, ma'am. It's not going to be $4. It's going to be $4 off. This is totally different, right? And so it doesn't make sense to them because they're not buying anything, because they're not paying attention to anything. So if we take our children to the store, if we have math class in the store, you can estimate. So we're going to go buy some groceries. We're going to estimate when we get to the counter and we check out, how much money are we going to have spent? You can do tax, all of that. You're going to do all of that. And you know what I find? Because sometimes I post math problems on my Facebook page. And way back when I used to post them, I would have the people that would answer them openly, because a lot of people would inbox me to answer, but the people who would answer them openly were my math genius friends and single moms who have to account for every dime. They didn't really know how to work the problem, but they understood real life. And so they could give you a roundabout answer. Like this one girl, she would be like, I don't know the answer, but I know it's close because being a single mom, she had to know how to manage her money. And she had to account for every dime. And if it was a percentage problem or anything that had to do anything close to real life, she could just think about it and be like, yeah, that's going to be. And she was always really close or spot on. And I was just very amazed. But it's because she had an understanding of real life. And so that's what we want to impart to our children, an understanding of real life. And we want to use real examples. Okay, so great question, Marjorie. So the way that we handle delayed education, And I get this question a lot, and so we probably need to do a post about this as well. So delayed education doesn't mean that my 5-year-old can't know how to read. So the counsel is that we don't begin formal school until the ages of between 8 and 10. So what that means in a nutshell is that up to the ages of 8 to 10, I am teaching my child through everyday life, just as we have said. I'm taking them to the grocery store. Why is that? So part of the reason for that is because the little children need time to mature. They need time to build up their physical endurance and their motor skills, gross and fine. And so what we have found, and studies show this today, is that children who have developed their motor skills first learn better, because there is an order to development. So, and teachers who teach reading have told me that they can always tell their the babies who never crawled. When I lived in California, this lady, she taught elementary school, and she said, based on how her children in her classroom read, she could pick out the ones who just walked, but they never crawled. I'm like, what? And so evidently there's some kind of connection in the brain that happens when the baby crawls. And so, you know, the baby goes from being held, and then they crawl, and then they can walk. And so this development stage prepares the child's brain to be ready to receive information. And so the brain is not ready to receive formal information, meaning sitting down and learning from a book, and until the ages of between 8 and 10, sometimes even a little older, depending on the child. And so what we want to do is we want to teach the child from everyday life. So we're watching the child, right? So we're going to have our family Bible lessons in the morning. Every child's going to have their Bible out. Even if the child can't read, we can still let them learn their letters. Absolutely. Absolutely. So that's where I'm going. Absolutely. So this is what you're going to do. You're going to be putting your felt on the board. You're going to be having your Bible open. The little one's going to be sitting on your lap, and you're going to be reading. So the little one who's interested is going to say, Mommy, what letter is that? And you're going to say, shh, be quiet, we're reading, right? But the child is going to keep asking you 5 million times, Mommy, what letter? Mommy, what letter is this? Right? And so you're going to tell the child what letter it is. And so the child who's not interested is not going to ask any more questions. The child who is interested is going to point to another letter and say, Mommy, what letter is that? So now Mommy knows that she needs to be teaching this baby the letters. What I did for my daughter when she was, before she was 2, when she could walk, actually before she could walk, maybe around she could walk, we'll say that. I had letters in the bathtub. They stuck on the side of the bathtub. I think I got it from Toys R Us. I don't know where I'm going from, maybe Walmart. And so when she was taking a bath, the letters would be around the tub, and we would point to the letters, you know, while she's playing in the tub. What is this? A, apple. And she would say, A, apple. Okay. And then once she got that down, we would do B, bear. And then I had the magnetic letters. I put those on the refrigerator. So when I was in the kitchen cooking, she would be over at the refrigerator looking at the letters. And this is how she learned her letters. And so by the time she was 2, she knew all her letters, the sounds that they made, and the word that went with them. No formal training in the bathtub, in the kitchen. Okay, sorry guys, somebody was calling me. I think I lost my connection. Am I back to you guys? Okay. So, the point that I was making is, oh, wait a minute, I see. How about to have music classes like piano lessons? Is it good for 5 years? Okay, so same concept. I would not put a 5-year-old in music classes. Now, if you happen to have a piano in your house and you play the piano and you sit the baby on the bench next to you while you're practicing or playing, or you have an older child that's practicing or playing and the little one is sitting there and now they're picking something up. But studies have shown that children who start lessons at 5 are no more advanced by 12 years old than children who start at 10 in those 2 years, because they are now ready to learn and to sit and to take instructions. In those 2 years, they will advance more than the other child will in the 5 to 7 years. That's what the studies show. And this is the counsel that we have been given. So, you know, I would not put the 5-year-old in formal lessons. So what does that mean? So does that mean that the child cannot learn the letters on the piano? No, it doesn't. But we're not having a time where we sit for 30 minutes and we're trying to get the child to pay attention. And because chances are most of that time is going to be spent trying to get the child to pay attention and show interest. Is self-work or Montessori okay if they're showing interest? I think if they're showing interest, teach them to sing, and that is the music. Teach them to develop their ear. When the children show interest, that's when we want to follow the interest that they have. And even then, when they're really little, we want to watch that to make sure that we're not pushing them. What about the 5-year-old who doesn't care to learn anything and all they want to do is play? So same concept, because they can be taught during play, right? And so we want to watch that though, because we want to make sure there's a balance. Now, are they disobedient and they're not doing what I want them to do and they're just trying to get back and play? Or are they just not interested in what I'm trying to show them? But the 5-year-old can come in the kitchen and cook with me. The 5-year-old can help me wash dishes. The 5-year-old can help with laundry. The 5-year-old can help load the dishwasher. There's lots of, the 5-year-old can sweep. So the 5-year-old needs to have chores and they need to have responsibility. And so they're not always able to just play because they do have to work. And we teach them that the child who doesn't work doesn't eat. So, and that rules in my household. And my son can tell you, that if he hasn't done his chores, then his breakfast will be waiting for him. Because, if you don't work, you don't eat around here. So, all right. So what I want you guys to understand is that we want, but he does do his chores. Okay, absolutely. So what you can do is, I don't know if you were on when I was just talking about how we get them. Now, let me say this too, because you said he. My son, okay, now my daughter, by the time she was 4, like she could read, like really well, okay? Because she was really interested in learning how to read. My son was like 9, 10, and getting him to read, whew, we would sit around the table and have family worship, and each of us would read a Bible verse, and my daughter would say, skip him, don't let him read, because it would take him like 5 minutes to read one verse. Just like, whew, it was so painful, but he was not interested. And so we would read very slowly, exactly. And so I didn't push him. I continued to read to him. He wanted to read the verse though. And so he would say, Mommy, can I read a verse? Yes, honey, you may read a verse. And so we would just pray through it because it was torture. But because he wanted to read, and he could read a little bit, but he just didn't read well. And other than the family worship time, he just wasn't interested. And so I would read to him. But when my daughter was little, she would try to take the book and say, Mommy, let me read it. What? Really? My son, no, he never did that, because he just, as long as I was reading to him, he was fine. He wasn't interested in taking the book. He didn't care what was on the page. I would try to show him the pictures. He didn't really care. He wasn't, yeah. So, the children are different. And so we go with him. But he could take instruction on anything. And this is still during the time where our house was a mess. He could find anything in the chaos, in the clutter. You would ask him, have you seen this? And I'll never forget, we were at my mother's house and I was looking for something. I don't even remember what it was, but I said to my mother, have you seen whatever it was? And she said, no. He heard me. He couldn't have been more than 2. I don't know. He was really little. And he kind of disappeared. And he came back with what I had been looking for. And we realized he had been gone that whole time. Like, he was looking for it. And he did not stop until he found it. And that brought him excitement and joy. And like, and my mother looked at me. She said, has he been looking for it the whole time? I was like, I think so. And it was really bothering him that he couldn't find it. And so now my daughter, you ask her, have you seen something? And she will say no. And it can be sitting right next to her. And she doesn't really care. So, you know, very good with his hands. Excellent. So if he's good with his hands, then you want to, what about self-work or Montessori style learning? Okay, so when you say self-work or Montessori style learning, give me a little more on that, because what I understand from Montessori is you're kind of self-paced, or give me a little more on what you mean when you say Montessori style learning. And while you're typing that, shelf work, what is shelf work? Like hand-eye coordination things. Okay, absolutely. So you can do those. Anything that works with fine motor skills, gross motor skills. The only thing that I recommend, though, is that when you're doing these things, do something that actually is beneficial. So teach the child how to knit. Teach the child how to crochet. Teach a child how to thread a needle. Things like this that are skills that later in life they could actually use to start a business, to make things that they can use. You know, you want to do things that are going to be beneficial to the child, if that makes sense. So, but please clarify this self, or are you saying shelf work or self work? And what does that mean? Oh, and I was going to say to Sherry, you talked about your son being very good with his hands and his memory is excellent. So you want to use that, okay? So what I would do is, like my son is really good with knowing where we are when we're out and about. I'll say to him, do you know where we are? And he'll look around and he'll say, oh yeah, we're over here by, okay, now where do we live and how would we get home from here? Okay, so this is practical life skills. And yeah, you have GPS, but you know, what if your phone's dead? Activities are prepared daily on a shelf. Pairing socks. Okay, absolutely, you could do that. Yeah. Shelf work. Okay. Yeah, you could do that. That's kind of what we were talking about earlier when you're teaching how to count. You're putting the socks together. You know, there's 5 balls of socks here. How many socks is that total? So, absolutely. All I'm saying is when you're doing these things, so let's go with the cutting activities, for example. So, I would not recommend like just printing out some paper and cutting out just random shapes on a paper, because, you know, then what are you going to do with it after you're done? So if you have a specific project that you're working towards, if you're learning how to sew and you want to actually cut out some fabric from a pattern, so you, as much as possible, you want to make it practical and geared towards something that's actually useful, and that can be used. And so that's why I give the example of knitting, crocheting, because you can make a scarf, you can make some socks, you know, you can make a sweater or whatever. And so I know that the Montessori method does teach children to knit. So All right, guys. I hope that answers your question. But the whole point is, what about teaching cursive before handwriting? So, the jury's out on that one. There's a lot of research that says that it's good to teach cursive, that it's good for the brain development, and so I certainly am not against that. So what I would say is that you don't want to push it. So I know when my children were younger, especially my son, people would say to me, he can't write his name? Well, that's not good. Okay, well, he's 5. Like, why does he need to be able to write his name? What is he going to write it on? Like, if I take him to the doctor, he's not going to fill out the paperwork. Like, why does he need to be able to write his name? Now, obviously, the child needs to be able to write their name eventually. But I don't think there's a rule that says that your child needs to be able to write their name when they're 5. So, as Allison just said, cursive helps with the child that confuses which direction to write letters. Okay, cursive teaches direction. And I have been told, or I'm sure I've read, that cursive actually helps with motor skills, and I forget what the other thing was. There was an article that I read about cursive, and that is supposed to be very beneficial. But here's the thing. The issue is not really whether or not the child should be learning to write cursive. If you want to teach a child cursive, I think that's great. But don't spend more than about 10 to 15 minutes a day on the handwriting. And to begin with, I would go outside and write it in the dirt. I would put some flour in a pan and let the child write with their finger. You're just doing very, what's the word I'm looking for? Non-stressful, activities. And so it's not like their handwriting has to be perfect at first. They're just getting used to, because for some children, it's very hard for them to use their hands because they have not developed their fine motor skills, which is why you're going to spend time outside. You're going to let them run. You're going to let them play. You're going to let them jump. This is going to get their gross motor skills up, which is going to in turn help them get to their fine motor skills. Oh, please, Allison, that would be great to share what we're doing in the 15-minute class. Absolutely. I think that would be beneficial to many people here. So I hope I answered the question about the formal education. So it's not that you can't school. It's not that you can't be teaching your children. It's that we're not going to be doing it in the way that public school does it. So public school, the little children go to school when they're 5, and like all day they are doing schoolwork. No. We're doing chores, but we're not even doing them as chores. We're having fun. We're baking bread. We're making cookies. We're making dinner. We're making breakfast. We're folding up clothes. And this is our schoolwork. This is our schoolwork. To fold these shirts neatly, to pair these socks together, to put, be like a flower. Oh, yeah. Allison has a lovely homeschool. So, yes, Allison, we would love to hear from you of how you're doing that. Cursive is faster. It was developed to make writing more efficient. Exactly. So, yeah. I mean, I learned cursive when I was in school. I went to Pensacola Christian, home of the Abeka curriculum. And now they actually teach cursive first. Thank you. You've been a great help. You're very welcome. Now, is your name Sherry or Cherie? Is it Sherry? I know I have a friend named Cherie, so I just want to get it right. So, Sherry, like cherry, but Sherry. I hope I'm saying that right. All right. So guys, I hope that this answered your questions. And so what do you guys think about the platform? I don't know. I'm kind of liking this YouTube Live, guys. So, I don't know. I was kind of leaning towards Periscope, but I think I kind of like the fact that all the comments are still here. I can scroll back and see what you love YouTube. Okay, I'm kind of liking YouTube. I know a lot of you like Periscope, and I do miss the hearts. Periscope is done. The commenting system. I like the commenting system here. I really do. I like YouTube for the live comments too. Yeah, I think I'm leaning towards YouTube, guys. So we probably will stick with YouTube, but we'll meet here again next week, and then we'll decide. You change your vote to YouTube. I'm telling you, the poll is like so close. I thought it was going to be like overwhelmingly Periscope, but it's not. So it is leaning towards YouTube on the vote. So you are very welcome. Thank you guys for joining. You still like Periscope? Or just realize how to comment and read the comments. Yeah, I like how, because on Periscope, like if I'm talking or if I look away and then somebody comments and I'm like, what did they say? And then it's floating off the screen and I've totally missed what they said. But here, I have my phone here, or even on my phone, I can pull up the comments, or maybe not. Anyway, I have my computer up, and so I'm watching the comment. I can look at the comments on my computer. I can scroll all the way back to the very first comment. So I like that. You know, if I'm talking and I miss something, I can just go back and see what they said. My son says he's going to be my technical guy, so he's going to, he wants to moderate the people, like whatever that means. So, he's going to be moderating you guys, so you guys better behave. I like YouTube Live for comments and Periscope for. I love the hearts on Periscope. Like if YouTube had the hearts, it would be YouTube hands down, right? But I'm like, what's up with YouTube? They don't have any hearts. They don't have like they need some sparkles or something going across the screen. They need to get it together. So, all right, guys. Well, see, we can just do our own hearts. Hearts. There we go. We'll just make our own hearts. Not quite the same, but we'll make it work. So, but we're not deciding quite yet. I am leaning towards YouTube Live. I do think I like this. I think it's better for me as a presenter to be able to catch what everybody's saying, and you guys can see what everybody's saying. And so, and plus the video will be here. I won't have to do any work afterwards, so that makes my life a little simpler. So, all right, guys. So I do have to go. I've got some stuff that I need to get done today. Have a blessed Sabbath. Thank you, Candace. You have a blessed Sabbath as well. I'm going to add you. In fact, I'm going to add you right now. I'm going to send you the, I'm going to send you, it's easier to share on Periscopes. It's easier to share what? What do you think is easier to share on Periscope? Share the broadcast. Oh, okay. I got you. That's true. But there is a share button on here. Yeah. Oh, but it doesn't. It has. Oh, but it doesn't let you share like. Hold on, I'm clicking on it. I guess it doesn't let you. Yeah. So I see what you're saying, but the only thing is, so this class was really only intended for the people that were signed up for it anyway. I do appreciate you guys sharing it because that lets other people know about it. But Originally on Periscope, I was going to do a private group, and I actually had set up the private group, but you weren't able to share the videos out of the private group, and so I started making them public so that people could be able to share, which I don't have a problem with them, with the videos being shared. But what happens is, do you get a lot of people in coming asking questions, you know, because they've missed half the class, so they don't know what's going on. And so, you know, because this is a class and because things are progressive, then we really do want to kind of stay with the core group of people, just so because we only have like an hour to answer the questions. And so, but that is a good point, because we do want to be able to share, but you can still share the link. It's just not as easily, right? Because on Periscope, you can share in real time that someone is broadcasting. So I don't know, we'll think about that. Let me write that down. Not as easy to share. But once we finish, you know, feel free to share the link. Feel free to let people know that they do still have time to sign up. I will keep the registration open until, Andrea, how long did we keep it open last time? Maybe last time we kept it open too long, actually. We'll probably keep it open for like maybe a month after the class has started. Maybe not even that long. I don't know. Because it's just hard to keep adding people in the middle of the class, because you wind up having to go back and cover a lot of what you've already covered. And so, yeah, we'll pray about that and see. And I kept saying, no, we're going to keep it open. Andrew's like, you need to close it. I'm like, no, not yet. And then I should have listened to Andrea. Okay, give me your email. Or just put it in here and then I'll have it. And I'll write it down from the chats. I know, Andrea, I'm so sorry for being hard-headed. I was like, no, Andrea, we have to give the people a chance. She's like, okay. And, yeah, sure enough, it got a little out of control. So we're going to give him a few weeks, because we've been pubbing it for a couple of months now. Seeds of Truth at yahoo.com. All right, guys. Well, I'm going to add you. I'm going to send out the email right now. I'll send it to Candace and Seeds of Truth. And I'm going to go ahead and add you guys to the email group. But please do fill out the registration form. I'll send you the link to the registration form if you can fill that out for me. And we will meet here again next week at noon. And until then, guys, have a blessed Sabbath. And next week, we'll probably talk a little... What are you doing? A little more about our... What? We'll talk a little bit more about our initiatives and answer any questions about those. And get ready to get geared up for the new year, to get our homes and our hearts ready for our soon coming Lord. All right, guys, be blessed. Have a happy Sabbath, and I'll see you again. Do we register again if we did last year? No, you don't need to register again, because if you're already in the class, then, you know, you're already in there. What book can we start reading? You can start reading Thoughts from the Mount of Blessings, and you can go to the Google Drive and read lesson 1 from the 10 Principles of True Education class book. I will send some information out about that, just because I know we have some new people in the group that may not know where all the information is. But Thoughts from the Mount of Blessing is just a small book, so you can go ahead and start reading that and just kind of reading Matthew's chapter, is it 5, 6, and 7? Please register me. My son is so, what are you doing? Okay. All right, welcome, Jasmine. I will add you as well. Okay, guys, I do have to go, because you know how I am. I'll be on here, it'll be 1:30, and I gotta go. So I'll talk to you guys later. If you want to join the group and I didn't see your message, I think I can go back and look at these later. I will check the chat just to make sure I didn't miss anybody. But email me at yolandamarie73@gmail.com. yolandamarie73@gmail.com. Let me know you want to join the class. I will send you the link for registration, and I will add you to the email group. All right, guys, be blessed. Happy Sabbath to you. Love you all, and see you next week. Bye-bye.